is up, my dear future engineers and future doctors? Today, let us take a look at the concept of banking of roads. So, this concept is from the Laws of Motion chapter. So, let us have a look at this topic. So, banking is a slight tilt in the road or track where the vehicle is taking a turn. You can observe here in these two cases. So, this is the first case, and the vehicle is taking a turn, and this turn here, the road here is slightly inclined. So, this is called a banked curve. And in this one, you see the vehicle is taking a turn and the road is flat. So, this is called an unbanked curve. Banking is not limited only to roads. We have the banking of railway tracks also. Let us first understand why roads are banked at turns. So we have a car here, and this car is taking a turn, and this is not a banked curve, this is a unbanked curve or a flat road. Now let us assume that this car is moving along the turn with constant speed. Now as this car is in a circular motion, here we are considering uniform speed, so uniform circular motion, there must be a force acting on the car towards the center, so has to help this car move in circular motion. So when a vehicle is moving in a circular path, the force which helps it move in circular path is the friction between the tires of this vehicle and the road. So the friction between the tires of this car and road act in this direction, and this friction force provides the necessary centripetal force, and thus this helps the car move in a circular path. Let us analyze the free body diagram of this car during its motion on an unbanked curve. So there is a normal reaction force which is acting due to the ground on the tires of the car. Next, there is a gravitational force mg which is acting on the car in downward direction. And as the car is going in a turn, there is a centripetal force. So that centripetal force here is provided by friction. So friction acts in this direction. Now the maximum value of friction force that we have learnt equals to mu into n, where this mu is a coefficient of static friction between the road and tires. So the force which helps the car move in a circle is dependent on this mu. Now there are some disadvantages due to this. So if you are driving a car on a rainy day, and the car we are taking a turn, so what happens is the friction acts in this direction, and this maximum friction which helps in turning is dependent on mu, and because it is the road is wet with rain, this mu decreases, and what happens is this friction might not be sufficient to help the car go in circular motion. In that case, what happens is the car, instead of moving in a circular path, it wavers away from the circular path, and this is also called as skidding. Another disadvantage of this friction supporting turning is that because of friction, there is friction between the tires and the road, and due to this force, this huge force, there is a wear and tear of the tire which is caused. So summing it up, the two disadvantages that we see if we take turn on a flat road is, one thing, it might cause skidding during rainy season, and the second thing is it increases the wear and tear of the tires. So now let us move on to banking of roads, and what advantages does banking have over the unbanked road, and will banking solve these two problems of skidding and wear and tear? We will also see this. Here, let us take a look at a car which is moving on a banked curve. Now as this car is moving on a curve, it requires a centripetal force to help it move along this curve. In the previous case, we saw that the friction between the tires and the ground help this car move in the curve, let us see what difference does banking make. We discussed that in the case of unbanked turn, the friction provides the necessary centripetal force and that helps the car to move in a turn. We also discussed that this friction is not very reliable, as when it rains, the mu between the tires of the car and the road decrease and the value of friction decreases and the car could skid off the road. The second disadvantage was, as there is friction between the tire and the road, there is wear and tear of the tire. If we look in the case of banked curve, so this car is on a banked road while it is taking a turn, mg acts downwards and normal reaction due to the ground on the car is in this direction. Now this normal reaction has two components, one is n cos theta and n sin theta. This n sin theta can provide the necessary centripetal force to the car to help it move in a circular path. See, now the car is not depending on friction, so the two main disadvantages are eliminated, which is wear and tear of the tires and also the skidding on the road. Let us now analyze the forces on a car which is moving on a banked road. So in this diagram, we are drawing this free body diagram in reference frame fixed to the car. So as this car is in a rotating reference frame, we need to apply a pseudo force or a centrifugal force on this car. Next, this theta here is the banking angle. So this road is tilted by a certain angle here. So this theta is the banking angle. Next, capital R is the radius of curvature of the turn which this car is making. We know that this car is going in a turn. So this capital R is the radius of curvature of that turn. Let us discuss the different forces acting on the car. The first is the normal reaction force, which is acting on the car wheels due to the ground. The next is force mg, which is acting downwards. I have resolved it into two components. One is mg sin theta and the other is mg cos theta. As this car is a non-inertial frame of reference, we need to apply a pseudo force. If the speed of the car is v, then there is a centrifugal force acting in this direction. So the centrifugal force in this direction, I am resolving one to mv square by r cos theta in this direction and another mv square by r sin theta in this direction. And the arrow or the vector that you see is a frictional force. Right now this car is at rest, so you can see that this mv square by r cos theta and mv square by r sin theta is 0. So the vectors are not in the diagram. We have only the forces normal reaction mg and this friction will be acting in this direction. As the car is tending to move in this direction due to mg sin theta, friction on the car will be in this direction. Now comes the main part. What we will do is we will slowly increase the speed of this car. Okay, slowly we will increase the speed of this car and we will analyze how these forces will act on the car. Why I am mentioning very slowly is that this car must not have a tangential acceleration. If it has a tangential acceleration, then the friction direction changes and the friction will not act along this or only along this direction. It will act at an angle. Okay, so that is why we will change the speed of the car very slowly such that the tangential acceleration is 0. I will play the schematic now and carefully observe all the forces. So as the speed of car is increasing, the centrifugal force on it is increasing. So you can see the two components of centrifugal force on it are increasing. And as the both forces are increasing, the friction, which is self-adjusting force, decreases and becomes 0. And as this centrifugal force is increasing even more, in the frame of reference of the car tends to be pushed outwards. So friction supports that, and so the friction acts in this direction. Right? We can see there is a specific value of speed here. There is a specific value of speed for which no friction acts. Right? So that would be the optimum speed of this car to go on a banked road such that there is no wear and tear in the tires of the car. We discussed that if there is no friction, there is no wear and tear in the tires. So if the car moves at that specific speed, there is no friction and there is no wear and tear of the tires. One more important conclusion we can draw from this is that as the speed of car increases, you see here friction starts acting here, and this friction has a maximum value. It's a static friction, it has a maximum value. And if the car goes any more faster, this friction is not able to support it and the car will skid and move outside. So finally, two important things. The first, there is an optimum speed at which the friction acting on the tires or on the car is 0, and second, there is a maximum speed which the car can go so that it does not skid off the road. First, let us discuss the optimum speed of the car so that no friction acts on the car. Now the car is on a banked road, it is moving with speed v. We need to find what is the speed so that there is no friction acting on the car. As we are in the reference frame of the car is right now at rest. So we can balance the forces on the car. I am taking my axis as this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis, and I will be balancing the forces along each of the axes. As we need to find out v in terms of theta, radius and g, we can just balance the forces in this direction and get the value of v. So along this direction, as the net force is 0, we can write mg sin theta equals to mv square by r cos theta, which I am writing here. Next, we can cancel out m and m here and we'll get v square equals to rg tan theta, or the optimum speed with which this car must move equal to under root rg tan theta. In practice, this v optimum is given and the radius of curvature of the turn is known. From that, tan theta can be calculated, and from that this theta or the banking angle is calculated. Let us now calculate the maximum speed of the car so that it goes safely on a turn. So we have discussed that as the centrifugal force increases, see this force is increasing, and so friction also increases, and at one point a maximum value of friction is reached. And if this speed exceeds that value, this force exceeds this force and the car is pushed outwards. So in this case, we are considering this v is the maximum speed of the car and the friction acting is also maximum here. So using this, we will find out the maximum speed of the car. We will consider along this direction as x-axis, and perpendicular to that we'll consider it as the y-axis. So along the x-axis, we can balance all the forces. So this one force is mv square by r, the other is mg sin theta, and the other is f. So mv square by r cos theta minus f minus mg sin theta equals to 0. Along the y direction, the forces are normal, mg cos theta and mv square by r sin theta. So we can write n minus mg cos theta minus mv square by r sin theta equals 0. So we are considering the maximum friction acts in this case. So F equals to mu into N, where this mu is the coefficient of static friction between the tires and the road. We will take this as equation 1, this as equation 2 and this as equation 3. We need to solve here for the maximum speed. So what we will do is we'll put the value of F from this equation in this equation, and we'll put the value of normal n from this equation to the equation number 3. So the value of f we are putting as mv square by r cos theta minus mg sin theta, which we have got from equation 1, and normal reaction we are putting as mg cos theta plus mv square by r sin theta, which we have got from equation 2. In the next step, we are taking mv square by r common. So mv square by r cos theta and another term mu mv square by r sin theta, we are bringing it to the LHS. So we get mv square by r into cos theta minus mu sin theta equals mg mu mg cos theta and another term mg sin theta, we are taking it to RHS. So we can take mg common into mu cos theta plus sin theta. In the next step, we will just cancel out m and m both sides, and we will get Vmax equal to under root gr into mu cos theta plus sin theta divided by cos theta minus mu sin theta. One more simplification we will make. We will divide the numerator and denominator by cos theta. So cos theta by cos theta becomes 1, sin theta by cos theta becomes tan theta. Again cos theta by cos becomes 1 and sin by cos becomes tan. So finally we get the maximum speed with which the car can go on a banked road without skidding is under root gr into mu plus tan theta divided by 1 minus mu tan theta. So I will sign off here. I hope you all have understood why banking of roads is important and what advantages do banking of roads have over unbanked ones. And very importantly, I hope you could visualize and comprehend how the forces act on a vehicle when it is going at different speeds on a banked road. My next video will be on a question from JEE Advanced 2016, and the question is from EMI chapter, electromagnetic induction.